The province is considering new regulations that would ban certain procedures on cats and dogs. And you, the public, can have your say. Joining us now to talk more about this from the OSPCA and Humane Society is Director of Government Relations, Drew Woodley, joining us from Toronto tonight. Great to have you, Drew.
Thanks for having me.
So for those that are just learning about this, what is considered a medically unnecessary veterinary procedure?
A medically unnecessary veterinary procedure is just that, when a procedure is performed for something other than medical reasons, say for convenience purposes or cosmetic and appearance purposes. So for example, if a cat was scratching the furniture and an owner had its toes partially amputated so it couldn't scratch, that would be banned. But if a veterinarian determined that there was a tumor and part of that toe had to be removed for that reason, there's a medical necessity, and that would be allowed.
What exactly is debarking a dog?
Debarking is a procedure where part of the dog's, basically their windpipe, is partially removed. That prevents or reduces the volume of the dog's ability to bark. Sometimes it's done for medical purposes, again, in cases of tumor or cancer, but it's sometimes also done simply because a dog barks loud or barks too much, and we think that kind of procedure needs to be banned.
Would cropping of the ears fall under that category as well for the unnecessary procedures?
Yes, it would. Again, this is a procedure that is often done for appearance purposes. Some people like certain breeds of dogs to have a particular look that is sort of developed over time. And instead of it being a natural part of the dog's appearance, the ear is cropped to give it that aesthetic quality that people are looking for.
Now, what is being left out? Because I often think of docking the tail of a dog, but I understand that might not necessarily fall under this category.
Unfortunately, we aren't seeing that as part of the government's consultation. Back in 2023, when the province first announced that it was planning to do a consultation on this issue, it listed 4 procedures that it was really looking at. Tail docking was on that list. And for some reason, the government has quietly chosen to drop it from the documents that it's circulating for the consultation. And we think that's wrong. We think that puppies as young as a few days old shouldn't have their tails amputated simply for cosmetic or appearance purposes. There should be an exemption for medical purposes, obviously, but that aesthetic tail docking needs to be included in the list of procedures that will be banned.
Why do you say that Ontario, our province, is actually behind when it comes to these restrictions?
Every other province in Canada has some type of ban or restriction in place. It varies by province as to which procedures are covered and whether the restriction comes from the government or from the veterinary community. But Ontario is the only province without some kind of restriction or ban, which is why the Ontario SPCA has really been pushing the government to take action on this issue.
Finally, how can people share their opinions on this, Drew?
Sure. People can visit the Ontario SPCA advocacy page, changeforanimals.ca, where you can contribute to the consultation and contact the Premier to say that you want to have these procedures banned and to include tail docking as part of the list.
Okay. Drew, thanks very much for joining us here on CTV Barrie. We appreciate your time.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
I've been speaking with Drew Woodley from the Ontario SPCA and Humane Society. Now, we will include these details on our website. There's a look, ctvnews.ca/Barrie.